Chosen ones, hear this clearly. This Saturday is not just another day on the calendar. It is a divine turning point, a threshold moment where heaven equips you for the battles ahead. The forces of darkness have noticed you, not because you are weak, but because you are strong. Your light unsettles them. Your resilience threatens the very chains they use to bind this world. God is reminding you, fear is not your portion. Power is. Every trial you have endured, every heartbreak you have survived, every night you thought would consume you, these were not signs of defeat. They were training grounds. While others would have broken, you were refined. While others faded, you became brighter. That is why the enemy circles you now. It knows you are not just another soul passing through. You are a chosen one. This Saturday begins a new chapter, one where you do not shrink back, but rise with authority. One where whispers of doubt no longer control you, because the word of God has already declared, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You are stepping into the season of clarity, courage, and unshakable faith. So prepare yourself, guard your soul, lift your head, and remember who you are. A lighthouse cannot be hidden, and neither can you. This Saturday, a new you emerges, stronger, brighter, unstoppable. God has designated you as a chosen one with a light that can shine through any deception. The celestial armor you wear is too strong for the machinations of the adversary. Now, let's discuss how to defend yourself, how to remain unflinching, and how to make this assault a success. Identify the indications first. Not every evil is accompanied with fire and horns. Occasionally, it's a subtle idea that tells you you're not good enough. A scenario that is excessively burdensome and intended to cause you to falter. Perhaps it's someone who saps your vitality and diverts you from your mission. The purpose of these instruments is to divert your attention from the road that God has laid out for you. You're not blind, however. Through the fog, you can see. Pause when you sense that sudden weight on your soul, that strain. Breathe. You don't have to bear that responsibility. It's an indication that the adversary is close and attempting to divert you. You're smarter than that, however. You are aware of your value, purpose, and divine guardianship. Faith is your first line of defense. It's the sort you live, not the kind you simply speak about. Faith that reminds you that God is your stronghold, your haven, and your indestructible fortress. Faith that declares, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. You respond to the enemy's falsehoods with the truth. If you must say it aloud, do so. I've been picked. I'm safe. I am divine. Words are more than simply sounds. They are weapons. Like a sword, they slice through the darkness. A heart rooted in faith is too strong for the adversary. Thus, cling to it. When the winds of chaos blow, let it serve as your pillar. Let's now discuss your light. It's more than simply a possession. It is a weapon that you own. Because your light reveals what the adversary wants to keep concealed, they target you. Imagine a room that is completely dark. A one little candle may make a big difference. Everything becomes clear what has been hiding in the background. You are that. Atmospheres change with your presence. People are aware of it. Even if they don't understand why, they are pulled to you. However, the opponent is also drawn to that same light. Since it challenges their authority, they want to put an end to it. Thus, keep it safe. Maintain a connection to God's truth to protect your spirit. Take His word for it. Say a prayer. Write Amen for angelic protection and contribute with a super thank you up to $20. Be in the company of individuals who will make you feel better rather than worse. When you maintain your strength planted in Him, your light will remain impenetrable. To join thousands of selected individuals standing in their divine power, press the like button and subscribe if this message resonates with you and you sense a fire rising within. Your assistance ensures that this truth reaches those who need to hear it. And leave a comment below with 777 if you're prepared to proclaim your protection. That number is a symbol that you're steadfast in God's plan and holds the power of divine fulfillment. Let's discuss the enemy's plan. They don't simply go for the kill. They search for fissures, a time of uncertainty, a day when you're worn out and feel alone. They want to surprise you by striking at that moment. You're not helpless, However, you were given insight by God, which is a gift more powerful than any weapon. You sense such times approaching. You can tell when something isn't right. Have faith in your intuition. Your intuition isn't the only one. The Holy Spirit is directing you. Don't disregard that nudge when you get it. Take a step back. Say a prayer. Ask God to reveal the reality of your situation. Before you enter the trap, He will show you where it is. Imagine this: a lion pursuing its victim. It doesn't declare itself with a roar. Silently, it waits for vulnerability. The adversary operates in this manner. You're not prey. However, you are God's chosen warrior, clad as might. You do not flee when the lion approaches. Knowing that you are supported by a force stronger than any predator, you stand erect and fix your gaze on it. The adversary trembles because of it. You stand when they expect you to cower. Every time you decide to put your faith above your fear, their plans are rocked. You're destroying their assaults, not simply surviving them. Although your life is a battlefield, you are not fighting it alone. God's angels are all around you, and God is with you. Imagine Daniel in the cave of lions. The animals were genuine, right? Amen, for angelic protection, and contribute with a super thank you up to $20. They were hungry and had sharp fangs. However, God silenced them. No claw made contact with him. You are covered by the same protection. Evil may roar when it appears. God-sealed things are impervious to its schemes. His seal is impenetrable, and you are His. Thus, keep Daniel in mind whenever you feel the weight of an assault. Remain steadfast. Have faith that God is already putting an end to the enemy's schemes. Let's change the script now. The onslaught by the adversary is more than simply a threat. It's a chance. Every time darkness threatens to pull you down, it's an opportunity to be yourself. Consider Joseph, betrayed by his closest friends and family. He was sold into slavery and imprisoned. Each blow was intended to shatter him, but instead it strengthened him. He refused to allow the opponent to define him, and as a result, he ascended from a pit to a palace. You are the same. Every obstacle and assault is molding you into a better version of yourself. God views it as preparation, while the adversary wants you to perceive it as loss. You're being honed, fortified, and positioned for a greater role than you can fathom. Defense isn't the only aspect of protection. It's about asserting your position. The opponent wants you to play small, conceal your light, and shrink back. You weren't made for it, however. You were made to be fearless, to walk with authority, to assert the promises that God has made to you. Don't back down when you sense an impending assault. Come on ahead. Clearly state your goal. Talk about life rather than yourself. Someone has phoned me. I've been picked. I can't be stopped. Those are not only affirmations. They are shouts of combat. They serve as a reminder to the adversary that you are aware of your identity. Let's discuss community. You're not supposed to handle this by yourself. Isolation is a favorite of the adversary. Their finest work is done there. However, God made you in order to connect. When the devil attempts to convince you otherwise, surround yourself with people who see your light, who bring truth into your life, and who remind you of your purpose. Locate your tribe. Those who stand by you, pray with you, and defend you. They exist and are a component of God's strategy to keep you resilient. When you work together, you are an unstoppable force. A wildfire is uncontrollable, yet a single flame is strong. To join thousands of chosen ones blazing their light, press the like button and subscribe if you're experiencing this truth and are prepared to hold your ground against the darkness. Additionally, leave a remark below with 777 if you're asserting your heavenly protection. Raise your voice to the sky. Let's now discuss the impact of your remarks. The adversary aims to manipulate your speech so that you express uncertainty, fear, or defeat. Your words, however, are a weapon. Proverbs says, "The tongue has the power of life and death." Every time you speak truth, you push back the darkness. Every time you declare God's promises, you build a wall the enemy can't climb. So choose your words carefully. Speak life. Speak faith. Speak victory. When the enemy whispers, "You're failing," you say, "I'm rising." When they say, "You're alone," you say, "God is with me." Your voice is a force, and it's time to use it. The enemy's attacks aren't random. They're strategic. They know your potential. They see the doors God is opening for you. The blessings waiting just beyond the horizon. That's why they're coming now, trying to stop you before you step into what's yours. But here's the truth. Their attacks are proof you're on the right path. If you weren't a threat, they'd leave you alone. If you weren't destined for greatness, they wouldn't care. Every time you feel their pressure, let it remind you of your purpose. You're not just fighting to survive. You're fighting to claim what God has promised. Let's talk about rest. Not the kind where you sit back and do nothing, but the kind where you trust God so deeply you don't carry the weight of the battle. The enemy wants you exhausted, running on empty. Right? Men for angelic protection and contribute with a super thank you up to $20. Too tired to fight. But God says, "Come to me, and I will give you rest." When you rest in Him, you're not giving up. You're recharging. You're letting His strength fill you. Take time to be still. Let His peace wash over you. In that quiet, you'll hear His voice guiding you, reminding you that the battle is His and He's already won. Picture a fortress, walls high and thick, gates locked tight. That's your spirit when you stand in God's truth. The enemy can throw everything they've got. Doubt, fear, chaos, but they can't breach those walls. Every time you pray, every time you worship, every time you choose faith, you're reinforcing that fortress. You're making it stronger. The enemy might bang on the gates, but they can't get in. You're not just protected, you're impenetrable. So, keep building, keep praying, keep standing. Your fortress is God Himself, and nothing can stand against Him. The enemy wants you to believe you're alone in this fight, but you're not. Think of David facing Goliath. The giant was huge, his threats loud, his presence terrifying. But David didn't focus on the giant. He focused on God. One stone, one sling, one faith-filled step, and the enemy fell. You've got your own stones. Your faith, your words, your light. Use them. When the enemy comes, don't look at their size. Look at your God. He's bigger, He's stronger, and He's fighting for you. Let's talk about timing. The enemy's attacks often come right before a breakthrough. When you're on the edge of something big, a new door, a new season, a new level of purpose. That's when they hit hardest. Why? Because they know what's coming. They see the gates of heaven opening, the blessings pouring out, the destiny unfolding. So when you feel the pressure, don't give up. You're closer than you think. That attack isn't a sign of defeat. It's a sign you're about to step into something massive. Keep going. Your breakthrough is waiting. Protection isn't just about standing still. It's about moving forward with purpose. The enemy wants to paralyze you, to make you freeze in fear. But God created you to move, to walk boldly into the plans He has for you. Every step you take in faith is a step the enemy can't follow. Every decision you make to trust God is a blow to their plans. So keep moving, keep praying, keep shining. You're not just dodging attacks. You're advancing, claiming ground, stepping into the life God designed for you. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. This isn't just about you. Your stand against the enemy is a stand for everyone around you. Your family, your friends, your community, they're all impacted by your light. When you refuse to bow, you're showing others they don't have to either. When you stand firm, you're breaking chains, not just for yourself, but for those who look to you for hope. You're a catalyst, a spark that ignites faith in others. The enemy hates that. They want you silent, but God wants you loud. So shine, speak, stand. Your victory is their victory, too. The enemy's greatest weapon is lies. They'll tell you you're too weak, too small, too broken to win. But look at your life. Look at the battles you've already fought. You're still here, still standing, still shining. Every scar you carry is proof you're stronger than they think. Every time you've risen from the ashes, you've shown them who you are. You're not weak, you're a warrior. You're not small, you're a giant in God's eyes. You're not broken. You're being built into something unstoppable. Let's talk about worship. It's not just singing or praying. It's a weapon. When you worship, you're not just praising God. You're pushing back the darkness. The enemy can't stand in the presence of a heart fully surrendered to God. Think of Paul and Silas, chained in a prison cell, singing praises at midnight. The ground shook, the chains broke, the doors flew open. That's what your worship does. It shakes the enemy's foundation. It breaks their hold. So lift your voice. Worship through the storm. Watch the chains fall. The enemy wants you to focus on what's coming against you, but God wants you to focus on what's coming for you. Blessings, breakthroughs, open doors. The attacks are temporary, but God's promises are eternal. When the enemy throws chaos your way, look beyond it. See, the future God is preparing. A future of abundance, purpose, victory. Every attack is just a distraction. Keep your eyes on the prize. Your destiny is waiting, and no force in heaven or earth can stop it. You're not just protecting yourself, you're preparing yourself. Every attack you face is training you, strengthening you, teaching you how to wield your divine authority. Think of a blacksmith forging a sword. Every strike of the hammer, every blast of heat makes the blade stronger. That's you. The enemy's attacks are the hammer. God's presence is the fire, and you're being shaped into something sharper, stronger, unstoppable. So, embrace the process. Let it refine you. You're not just surviving, you're becoming. The enemy is coming, but so is your victory. They're targeting you because they know what you carry. A light that can change the world. They're afraid of you, chosen one. They're afraid of what you'll do when you fully step into your calling. So protect yourself, not with fear, but with faith. Not with doubt, but with truth. Stand firm, shine bright, and watch the darkness scatter. You're born for this. You're ready, and God is with you every step of the way. Let's talk about your vision. The enemy doesn't just want to dim your light. They want to cloud your sight. They know if you can see clearly, you'll walk straight into the destiny God has planned. So, they throw fog your way. Confusion, distractions, moments that make you question where you're headed. But you're not lost. God gave you eyes to see beyond the haze. Your vision isn't just physical, it's spiritual. You sense the path even when it's hidden. Trust that clarity. When the enemy tries to blur your focus, lean into God's word. Let it be the lamp that lights your way, cutting through the mist like a beacon. Your vision is your weapon. Think of Noah building an ark when no one else saw rain. The world mocked him, called him crazy, but he saw what others couldn't. His clarity came from God, and it kept him steady through the storm. You're the same. You see things others don't, opportunities, truths, possibilities. The enemy hates that. They'll try to make you doubt what you know, to make you second-guess the path you're on. But you're not swayed. You know the voice of God. You know the plans He has for you. Hold fast to that vision, and no force can pull you off course. Now let's talk about your heart. The enemy doesn't just attack your mind. They go for your emotions. They want to stir up anger, fear, or bitterness, hoping to harden what God made soft. But your heart is a fortress guarded by His love. It's where your strength lies, not in being untouchable, but in being unshakable. You feel deeply. You care fiercely. And that's not weakness. It's power. The enemy wants you to shut down, to build walls around your heart. But God says keep it open. Allow love to blossom. Let compassion guide you. That's how you defeat the darkness. Not by hardening, but by staying true to who you are. Your heart is a battlefield, but it's one you're winning. Think of Ruth, who chose loyalty and love over safety and comfort. She faced uncertainty, loss, and a world that could have crushed her spirit, but her heart stayed open, and God turned her faithfulness into a legacy. You're walking that same path. Every time you choose kindness over resentment, forgiveness over anger, you're pushing back the enemy's plans. Your heart isn't just surviving their attacks. It's thriving, growing stronger, radiating a love that disarms even the darkest forces. Let's talk about your time. The enemy loves to steal it to keep you busy with things that don't matter. They'll throw distractions your way, endless tasks, petty conflicts, worries that eat up your hours. They know they can waste your time. They can delay your purpose. But your time is sacred. God gave you every moment for a reason. Protect it. Guard it like treasure. Say no to what doesn't align with your calling. Focus on what moves you closer to God's plan. Every second you reclaim is a victory, a step toward the destiny waiting for you. Think of Moses standing before Pharaoh, refusing to let time slip away. He could have stayed in the wilderness, tending sheep, living quietly, but God called him to act, to move, to seize the moment. You're in that same place. The enemy wants you stuck spinning in circles, but God says, now is the time. Don't wait for ideal circumstances. Don't allow the adversary to deceive you into believing that you must first figure everything out. Now come forward. Have faith in God to lead you at every turn. You may claim your time. You don't realize how strong it is. Let's now discuss your voice. The authority behind your statements is just as important as the words themselves. The adversary wants you to keep quiet because you're scared to tell the truth. They are aware of the power of your voice. It brings down the might of heaven, smashes strongholds, and changes atmospheres. Things happen when you talk. People pay attention. The shadows shudder. Don't hold back, then. Over your life, declare the promises of God. Fight the falsehoods. Declare your goal. You are more than simply a voice. Reality is shaped by a power, a heavenly instrument. When you use it openly, the adversary will scatter. Imagine Esther in front of a monarch. The weight of a nation's existence was in her voice. She had the option to remain silent and play things safe, but instead she spoke. And history was altered by her words. That power is yours as well. You're rewriting the enemy's plans each time you speak out and speak the truth. They want you to remain little, to mistrust, and to murmur. However, God gave you a roaring voice. Thus talk, pray, and declare. Allow your words to reverberate in the spiritual world, shattering any plot against you. Let's discuss your sleep. Not simply rest, but the profound tranquility that God provides. The adversary wants you to be tense, nervous, and restless all the time. They know it's simpler to assault a weary spirit. But your shelter is in God's rest. You refuel there, can clearly hear his words, and regain the courage to face the battle. When the adversary urges you to never stop running, God says, be still. Find that quiet place. Let his peace fill you. It's not weakness, it's strategy. A rested warrior is a ready warrior, and you're being prepared for victory. Think of Jesus stepping away from the crowds to pray, to rest in his Father's presence. Even in the middle of his mission, he knew the power of stillness. You need that too. When the enemy's attacks feel relentless, don't fight in your own strength. Rest in God's. Let him carry the weight. Spend time in his presence, and you'll find a peace that no force can shake. That rest will make you stronger, clearer, more focused than ever. It's your secret weapon, and the enemy can't touch it. Now, let's talk about your influence. You're not just a light, you're a fire. Your presence changes things whether you see it or not. The enemy targets you because they know your influence is growing. They see the way people look to you, the way your faith inspires others, the way your strength gives hope. They want to stop that ripple before it becomes a wave. But it's too late. Your life is already touching others, sparking faith, breaking chains. Protect that influence by staying rooted in God. Let every action, every word reflect his truth. Think of Paul writing letters from a prison cell that would shape the world for centuries. His influence wasn't in his freedom. It was in his faithfulness. You're the same. Your influence isn't about your circumstances. It's about your commitment to God's truth. The enemy wants to silence you to make you think your voice doesn't matter. But every step you take, every word you speak is planting seeds of hope, faith, and change. Keep shining. Your influence is a weapon, and it's already shifting the world around you. If this message is igniting your spirit, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones walking in their divine purpose. And if you're ready to claim your authority, comment 777 below. Let your declaration echo in the heavens. Let's talk about your foundation. The enemy wants to shake it to make you question what you're built on. But your foundation is Christ. Unmovable, unbreakable, eternal. When the storms come, when the attacks hit, you don't crumble because you're rooted in something stronger than yourself. Every lie the enemy throws is meant to make you doubt that foundation. But you know the truth. You are built on a rock and no force can topple you. Stand firm in that. Let every attack remind you who you're anchored to. Think of the wise man who built his house on the rock. The rains came, the winds blew, but the house stood firm. That's you. The enemy's attacks are just rain and wind. They can't touch what God has built. When you feel the pressure, go back to your foundation. Read His Word. Pray His promises. Remember who called you. Your strength doesn't come from your own effort. It comes from the one who holds you steady. The enemy can rage all they want, but your foundation won't budge. Now, let's talk about your joy. The enemy hates it. Your joy is a threat, a defiance of their plans. They want you weighed down, burdened, joyless. But God gave you joy as a weapon. It's not just a feeling. It's a force. It rises above circumstances, above attacks, above pain. When you choose joy, you're choosing to trust God's goodness, no matter what the enemy throws at you. So laugh in the face of their schemes. Dance through their storms. Let your joy be a declaration that they can't steal what God has given. Think of Nehemiah rebuilding Jerusalem's walls while enemies mocked and threatened him. He didn't let their words steal his focus or his joy. He kept working, kept trusting, kept moving forward. You're doing the same. The enemy's attacks are just noise. They can't stop what God is building in you. Let your joy be loud. Let it be bold. Let it be a reminder to the darkness that you're not just surviving, you're thriving. And nothing they do can change that. Let's talk about your story. The enemy wants you to see your life as a series of failures, mistakes, or missed chances. But God sees it differently. Every moment, every struggle, every victory is part of the story He's writing. One of redemption, purpose, triumph. The enemy attacks because they know your story isn't over. They know the chapters ahead are filled with breakthroughs, blessings, and a legacy that will outlast their schemes. So own your story. See it through God's eyes. Every scar, every step is leading you to glory. Think of Job, who lost everything but held fast to his faith. The enemy thought they had him, but God was writing a story of restoration. Your story is no different. The attacks you face are just plot twists, not the ending. God's pen is still moving, crafting a tale of victory that will leave the enemy stunned. So keep walking, keep trusting. Your story is far from over, and the best parts are yet to come. Now, let's talk about your peace. The enemy wants to rob it, to keep you in chaos. But God's peace is your birthright. It's not the absence of trouble. It's the presence of Him in the middle of it. When the enemy stirs up storms, you can stand calm knowing God is in control. That peace is your shield, your anchor, your defiance against their plans. Protect it by staying close to God. Let His presence be your refuge. No matter how loud the enemy roars, His peace will keep you steady. Think of the disciples in the boat panicking as the storm raged. Jesus slept unbothered because He knew who was in charge. You have that same peace available. When the enemy's attacks feel overwhelming, don't focus on the waves. Focus on the one who calms them. Rest in His peace. Let it wash over you. It's not just a feeling. It's a power that holds you firm no matter what comes. Let's talk about your courage. The enemy wants you timid, hesitant, afraid to step out, but God made you bold. Your courage isn't loud or reckless. It's quiet, steady, rooted in faith. It's the kind that lets you face giants, walk through fire, stand against darkness. The enemy knows every bold step you take is a step toward your destiny, and they'll do anything to stop it. But you're not backing down. You're not shrinking back. You're moving forward, one fearless step at a time. Think of Deborah leading Israel into battle when others hesitated. She didn't wait for permission or perfect timing. She moved with courage, trusting God's call. You're called to that same boldness. The enemy's attacks are just tests, and you're passing them. Every time you choose courage over fear, you're claiming ground they can't take back. So keep stepping, keep trusting. Your courage is a fire, and it's burning brighter with every attack you face. Now, let's talk about your legacy. The enemy doesn't just want to stop you. They want to erase what you're building. They know your life will leave a mark, a ripple that will touch generations. Your faith, your strength, your light aren't just for today. They're for those who come after you. The enemy hates that. They'll try to make you think your efforts don't matter, that your life won't leave a trace. But God says otherwise. Every seed you plant, every step you take is building a legacy that will outlast the darkness. Think of Abraham, whose faith became the foundation for nations. The enemy couldn't stop him because God's promise was bigger. Your life carries that same weight. The attacks you face are the enemy's desperate attempt to halt what God is building through you. But they can't. Your legacy is written in heaven, sealed by God's hand. Keep walking in faith. Keep shining your light. You're not just living for yourself. You're building something eternal. If this message is stirring your soul, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones claiming their divine legacy. And if you're ready to stand bold against the enemy, comment 777 below. Let your faith be heard. Let's talk about your focus. The enemy loves to scatter it, to pull your attention in 100 directions. They know if they can keep you distracted, they can keep you from your purpose. But God gave you a mind that can lock in, a spirit that can zero in on what matters. When the enemy throws noise your way, worries, conflicts, endless to-dos, center yourself. Fix your eyes on God. Let His voice be the only one you follow. Your focus is your power, and it's time to sharpen it. Think of Peter walking on water until he looked at the waves. The moment he shifted his focus, he sank. But when he fixed his eyes on Jesus, he walked. You're in that same moment. The enemy's attacks are just waves trying to pull your gaze away. Don't let them. Keep your focus on God's truth, His promises, His plan. Every time you choose to stay focused, you're stepping closer to the miracles waiting for you. The enemy can't stop a mindset on God. Now, let's talk about your strength. Not the kind you build in a gym, but the kind that comes from enduring, from standing through storms, from rising again and again. The enemy wants you to think you're weak, that you can't handle what's coming. But look at your life. You've faced battles that would have crushed others. You've carried burdens that should have broken you. And you're still here, stronger than ever. That's not luck. That's God's strength in you, and it's only growing. Think of Samson, whose strength wasn't just in his body, but in his connection to God. Even when he fell, God's strength lifted him back up. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might knock you down, but they can't keep you there. Every time you rise, you're stronger, wiser, more powerful. Your strength is a gift, a divine force that grows with every trial. So stand tall. Let the enemy see that their attacks only make you stronger. Let's talk about your hope. The enemy wants to steal it, to make you think the future is bleak. But hope is your lifeline, your anchor, your defiance against their lies. God planted hope in your heart, and it's not fragile. It's fierce. It's the belief that no matter how dark the night, morning is coming. The enemy can't stand that. They'll try to bury you in despair, but your hope is a fire they can't put out. Hold on to it. Let it burn bright. It's what carries you through. Think of Hannah praying through years of barrenness, holding on to hope when the world told her to give up. Her hope wasn't just wishful thinking. It was faith in action. And God answered, "Your hope is the same." It isn't passive. It's strong. The enemy's intentions are always pushed back when you choose optimism over despair. You're affirming that God's promises are real, that you have a bright future, and that nothing can take away from you. Don't give up. Continue to believe. You've already written your win. Let's now discuss who you are. In order to make you believe that you're less than what God says you are, the adversary seeks to redefine you. They'll murmur that you're not good enough, imperfect, and undeserving. However, since you were made in God's image and are identified by His name, you are a chosen one. There's no question about who you are. Heaven has sealed it. The opponent doesn't just target your situation when they assault. They are aiming for your identity. Remain true to yourself. All that counts is that you are His. Imagine Gideon believing he was nothing, hiding under a wine press. However, God referred to him as a powerful warrior. The adversary wants you to shrink, distrust, and hide. God, however, sees the fighter inside you. Every moment you accept who you are strong, loved, and chosen. You're shutting off the falsehoods of the adversary. They're not telling the truth about you. God says you're who you are. Embrace that reality and see the darkness go. Let's discuss your mission. You're not simply attacked by the adversary. What you're called to perform is attacked by them. They are aware that your mission presents a danger to their strategies and shines a light on them. God, however, did not give you a mission by chance. It is your purpose, your vocation, and your reason for being. You're getting closer to walking inside it with each strike. Maintain your alignment with God to safeguard your mission. Follow His voice. Allow His strategy to define you. Your mission transcends the enemy's assaults. And now is the moment to step into it. In a world that didn't want to hear it, Jeremiah was called to tell the truth. God's plan was more powerful than the enemy's attempt to silence him. You have the same goal. It is neither minor nor unimportant. The world is changing. Attacks from the opponent are only attempts to divert your attention from your intended course. However, you're too determined, too aloof, and too selected to be stopped. Continue working toward your goal. God's plan is untouchable by the adversary, and every step is a triumph. Let's discuss how resilient you are. The opposition wants you to think that you will ultimately crumble under the strain of their assaults. You're constructed differently. However, you have endured hardships that would have destroyed others. And each time, you've returned more resilient, acerbic, and focused. It's not simply tenacity that makes you resilient. The insatiable fire inside your spirit is a gift from God. It frightens the adversary when they see it. You continue to rise like a tree that bends in a storm but never breaks, even when they hurl their worst at you. Imagine Elijah facing hundreds of false prophets by himself. The strain was overwhelming, the dangers were genuine, and the odds were stacked against him. However, he remained steadfast, his fortitude grounded on the truth of God. You're on the same route. The adversary expects you to collapse every time they strike you. However, you don't. Your faith is stronger, your roots are deeper, and you stand higher. Your fortitude is a weapon and evidence of the strength God has given you. Remain upright. The enemy's intentions are crumbling with each strike you survive. Let's now discuss your instincts. The adversary wants you to doubt the silent voice within by drowning it out. However, God gave you your intuition, which serves as a compass to help you navigate even the darkest nights. When something doesn't seem right, it's that nudge, that clarity in the midst of chaos. Because it keeps you one step ahead, the adversary despises it. When you're paying attention to that inner voice, they can't surprise you. So have faith in it. Embrace it. When the way looks uncertain, let lead the way. God is speaking, and He is always correct. Imagine Samuel in the silence of the night, hearing the word of God. He listened, even if others could have ignored it. His destiny was revealed to him by that feeling. You are the same. Even if the enemy's assaults may attempt to silence your inner voice, it remains truthful and constant. Don't dismiss that pull or knowing when you experience it. It serves as your shield, your compass, and your direct conduit to divine understanding. What is ingrained in his speech is impervious to the opponent. So pay careful attention. You will avoid any pitfalls by following your instincts. Now let's discuss your limits. The adversary enjoys pushing into areas where they are not welcome and crossing them. They will attempt to take away your vitality, disturb your tranquility, and entice you into their pandemonium. However, you have the ability to refuse. Boundaries are more than simply barriers. They are statements of your values and identity. In order to respect the holy place that God created inside you, setting them is an act of trust. You're letting the adversary know that they have no claim on you when you hold those lines. Imagine Nehemiah repairing the walls of Jerusalem as his adversaries attempted to divert his attention. He denied them entry. He maintained his objective, his limits, and his concentration. The same is true of you. You're creating barriers the adversary can't get past every time you refuse their ideas, whether they include a poisonous circumstance, a depleting person, or a falsehood that attempts to take hold. Keep your place safe. Keep your heart safe. The darkness is kept at away by your limits, which are your greatest power. To join thousands of selected individuals who are steadfast in their divine mission, click the like button and subscribe if this message is inspiring you. And leave a comment below with 777 if you're prepared to set limits. Let your determination be heard by the sky. Let's now discuss your thankfulness. The adversary wants you to concentrate on what's difficult, what's lacking, and what's assaulting you. However, thankfulness changes everything. It's more than simply an emotion. The darkness is blinded by this weapon. Giving gratitude demonstrates that God is greater than any assault, even during a storm. You're suggesting that your viewpoint is not defined by the opponent. A reminder that God's hand is visible even in the midst of turmoil. Every moment of thankfulness is a blow to their plans. Imagine Silas and Paul singing while shackled. Their predicament was not cursed. Through it, they gave praise. That appreciation shattered the shackles, unlocked the doors, and rocked the jail. Your appreciation has the same effect. When the adversary strikes, focus on God. Give him thanks for his protection, his presence, and his assurances. That gesture of appreciation goes beyond simple disobedience. It's strength. It clears the fog, changes the atmosphere, and makes the adversary flee. Thus, continue to express gratitude. The darkness cannot withstand this brightness. Now let's discuss your alignment. The adversary seeks to divert you from God's purpose by forcing you to pursue meaningless goals. However, you become untouchable when you align yourself with His will, timing, and purpose. Perfection is not the goal of alignment. It's about giving up. It's picking God's voice over the cacophony, His method over the planets. The adversary is aware that their tactics are ineffective when you are unified. You're too grounded, too concentrated, and too in sync with the beat of paradise. Consider Mary, who sat at Jesus' feet despite the demands of the outside world for her attention. Her life altered when she decided to prioritize alignment over distraction. That is the same decision you are making. Realign yourself when the adversary attempts to divert you. Say a prayer. Look for the face of God. Request that He keep you on track with His goal. You get closer to your destiny every time you make the decision to align. A soul that has completely submitted to God's will is impervious to the adversary. Let's now discuss your authority. The adversary wants you to lose sight of it, to believe you have no defense against their assaults. However, God gave you the power to command as well as to stand. You are not an observer in this conflict. Heaven is on your side as a fighter. The spiritual world hears what you have to say. Mountains move in response to prayer. The opponent is forced to flee when you assert your power. Step into it then. Take it. You're not only protecting, you're winning. Imagine Joshua standing against the walls of Jericho. He made no pleas or begs. He marched. He yelled. He asserted the triumph that God had promised. That authority is the same for you. Your faith serves as the roar that knocks down the enemy's assaults, which are only walls. Talk boldly. Offer up powerful prayers. Hold on to the authority that God has given you. When you are aware of who you are, the adversary cannot remain. It's time to make use of your authority, which is a powerful tool. Let's discuss your sleep. The adversary wants you to be restless, always strive, and battle with your own power. However, your secret weapon is God's rest. Doing nothing isn't the point. It's about putting all your confidence in Him. You are not weak when you rest in God. You're smart. While you rest, you're letting Him fight the war. Because a rested spirit is a dangerous soul, the adversary despises that. When someone is at peace, they cannot control them. So get some rest. Allow the presence of God to be your haven. Imagine David taking a nap by the brook before he faced Goliath. He was neither panicked nor pacing. He felt at ease, believing in the might of God. You are the same. Don't flee harder when the enemy's assaults seem overpowering. Take a deeper nap. Spend time in the presence of God. Allow His tranquility to flood you. You'll be stronger and more prepared for whatever comes next after getting that rest. A soul in God's hands is impervious to the enemy's grasp. Let's now discuss your metamorphosis. The opponent wants you to remain motionless and confined to your old habits. But you're being made new by God. Every assault you encounter is a necessary step in the process, helping you become who you were destined to be by removing things that don't belong. When the opponent witnesses it, it frightens them. They are aware that the more you change, the less power they have over you. Accept the adjustment, then allow God to purify you. Each move you take puts you one step closer to their grasp. Imagine the caterpillar changed in the dark while imprisoned in a cocoon. The adversary wants you to oppose the shift by being afraid of the cocoon. But God says, trust the process. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. Every trial, every attack is part of your transformation into something greater. The enemy can't stop what God is shaping. So lean into it. Let the process work. You're becoming a force they can't touch. Let's talk about your connections. The enemy wants you isolated, cut off from those who strengthen you. They know your power grows in community, in relationships that reflect God's love. But God created you for connection, for bonds that lift you up and sharpen your faith. Protect those connections. Surround yourself with people who see your calling, who pray for you, who stand with you. The enemy can't break a cord of 3 strands. Your relationships are your strength. Think of Jonathan, whose friendship with David was a lifeline in the face of danger. Their bond wasn't just love. It was power, a divine connection that helped them both stand firm. You need those connections, too. The enemy's attacks are weaker when you're not alone. Find your people. Build your tribe. Let their faith fuel yours. Together, you're a force the enemy can't overcome. Your connections are a shield, and they're stronger than you know. If this message is igniting your spirit, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones standing together in faith. And if you're ready to claim your divine connections, comment 777 below. Let your declaration resound. Now, let's talk about your perspective. The enemy wants you to see their attacks as proof you're losing, but God wants you to see them as proof you're winning. Every challenge is a sign you're moving closer to your purpose. Shift your perspective. Don't look at the attack. Look at the opportunity. Every lie they throw is a chance to speak truth. Every fear they stir is a chance to choose faith. Your perspective shapes your reality, and it's time to see through God's eyes. Think of Joseph, who saw God's hand even in a pit, in slavery, in prison. The enemy thought they had him trapped, but he saw a bigger picture. You're the same. The enemy's attacks aren't the end. They're the beginning of something greater. When they come for you, don't focus on the pain. Focus on the promise. God is working all things together for your good. Your perspective is your power, and it's time to use it to see beyond the enemy's schemes. Let's talk about your worship. The enemy wants to silence it, to keep you too distracted or discouraged to lift your voice. But worship is your rebellion. It's your declaration that God is greater, that his plans are stronger, that his love is deeper than any attack. When you worship, you're not just singing. You're shifting the spiritual atmosphere. You're tearing down strongholds. You're inviting heaven into the fight. The enemy can't stand in the presence of worship. So let it be your battle cry. Think of Jehoshaphat, who sent singers ahead of his army. They didn't fight with swords. They fought with praise. And God won the battle. Your worship does the same. When the enemy attacks, lift your voice. Sing, pray, praise. Let your worship shake the ground. It's not just an act. It's a weapon, a force that pushes back the darkness. The enemy wants you silent, but your worship makes you unstoppable. So keep praising, keep lifting him up. Watch the enemy flee. Now, let's talk about your expectancy. The enemy wants you to expect defeat, to brace for the worst. But God calls you to expect victory. Expectancy isn't blind hope. It's faith in action, believing God's promises before you see them. When you live with expectancy, you're telling the enemy their attacks are pointless. You're declaring that God's goodness is coming, that breakthroughs are on the way, that the gates of heaven are opening. Expectancy is your shield, and it's stronger than any lie. Think of Simeon waiting years for the Messiah, never doubting God's promise. His expectancy kept him steady, and he saw the fulfillment. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to shake your hope, but you expect God's goodness. You expect his provision. You expect his victory. Every time you choose expectancy, you're building a wall the enemy can't climb. So keep expecting. Keep believing. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. Let's talk about your surrender. The enemy wants you to cling to control, to fight their attacks in your own strength. But true power comes in letting go, in surrendering to God's plan. Surrender isn't giving up. It's giving over. It's trusting God to handle what you can't. When you surrender, you're not weak. You're wise. You're letting the creator of the universe take the lead. The enemy can't manipulate a heart fully surrendered to God. So let go. Trust him. He's got this. Think of Jesus in the garden, surrendering to God's will before the cross. That surrender didn't weaken him. It empowered him. You're walking that same path. The enemy's attacks might push you to fight harder, to hold tighter, but God says, let go. Give up the urge to control, the anxiety, and the dread. Give it to him. You will discover a strength you were unaware you have in that surrender. A soul in God's hands is impervious to the enemy's grasp. So give up and see how he moves. Let us discuss your clarity. Confusion is ideal for the adversary, who will use it to confuse your judgment by creating webs of ambiguity and doubt. They want you to be confused and uncertain of what to do next. However, God gave you a clear spirit and a mind that could discern their falsehoods. Your clarity helps you navigate even the roughest waves like a beacon. You may take a moment to pray and see the truth when the adversary attempts to cloud your judgment. Clarity is more than a gift. When the world trembles, this weapon holds you steadfast. Imagine Daniel deciphering dreams that no one else could. The adversary wanted him to become lost in the mystery, but he stood out because God gave him clarity. You are the same. Despite the enemy's attempts to overwhelm you, your clarity prevails. Turn to God when you sense the turmoil encroaching. Seek his knowledge. Allow his truth to illuminate your way. Every epiphany is a triumph, a stride forward that the adversary cannot stop. Hold on to it, then. They are unable to overcome the power of your pure thinking. Let's now discuss your endurance. When their strikes seem to go on forever, the adversary wants you to get exhausted and give up. They're hoping you'll give up before you fulfill your commitment. However, you possess divine endurance, a strength that intensifies with each hardship. You're not only getting by, you're doing well in the long run. The adversary undervalues you because they are unaware of the strength of an unbreakable heart. Even when the wind howls, your perseverance is like a fire that never goes out. Imagine the lady at the well who has endured years of humiliation but is still standing and looking. Her life was profoundly altered when her perseverance brought her to Jesus. That's the same path you're on. Even if the enemy's strikes seem to go on forever, your fortitude outlasts them. You continue each day. You're disproving them every time you don't give up. You are more than simply strong. It's an act of disobedience. Continue moving ahead. A soul driven by God's purpose is too strong for the adversary to outrun. Let's discuss your happiness. The adversary tries to take it away and replace it with sadness and gloom. They are aware that an uncontrollably glad heart is harmful. However, God, not circumstances, is the source of your delight. It's a glow that endures even in the most dire circumstances. A power that puts you out of the enemy's grasp. By choosing joy, you choose to recognize God's goodness despite all the obstacles in your way. That decision is a weapon, and it's more incisive than any assault. Consider Habakkuk, who said that he would be happy even if the crops failed and the herds vanished. His happiness had nothing to do with what he could see. It had a connection to God. You are the same. Although the enemy's assaults may attempt to take away your delight, it is rooted deeper. They are unable to dam the river. So choose it. Disregard their plans with laughter. Through their storms, dance. Your happiness pushes the darkness away and declares that God is greater. To join thousands of selected individuals flashing their light, click the like button and subscribe if this message is moving you. And leave a comment below with 777 if you're prepared to take back your happiness. Raise your voice in defiance to the sky. Let's now discuss your discernment. The goal of the adversary is to blind you so that you won't notice the traps they place. However, God endowed you with a talent that allows you to perceive what is hidden, the spirit of discernment. You can feel the danger concealed behind the serenity, the motivation behind the smile, and the truth beneath the falsehoods. Your ability to discern serves as a shield, keeping you out of the enemy's traps. Refrain from dismissing that inner caution. God is protecting and guiding you. Consider Abigail, who behaved wisely and saw through Nabal's folly. Her foresight protected her future and saved lives. You are the same. Even if the enemy's assaults are cunning, you have better judgment. Trust your gut when something doesn't seem right. Ask God to show you the truth. Embrace His direction. You're avoiding a trap the adversary believed to be infallible each time you pay attention to that discernment. They can't overpower the strength of your clear vision. Let's discuss your kindness. Out of fear, the adversary wants you to cling to what you have. They are aware that a giving heart thwarts their intentions. The adversary cannot uproot you when you provide your time, love, resources, and stitching seeds. Your donation goes beyond simple compassion. Declaring that God's wealth pours through you is a spiritual act. Because it dispels their scarcity mentality, fosters optimism, and spreads light, the adversary despises it. Consider the widow who donated her last few dollars. Jesus saw her as wealthy, but the world considered her as impoverished. The sky trembled with her kindness. You are the same. Attacks from the opponent may attempt to make you feel inadequate, but your generosity disproves their claims. Donate bravely, even if it seems hazardous. Spread your faith, your love, and your light. The aims of the adversary are thwarted by every act of compassion, a seed sown for an unstoppable harvest. Thus, continue to provide. You are a force with an open heart. Let's now discuss your quietness. The opponent wants you to be agitated, always responding, and constantly on the go. They are aware that a restless spirit is simpler to control. However, God invites you to silence, to a silent faith that grounds you in His presence. Passivity is not stillness. It's strength. It's when you give up trying and allow God to work. You can easily hear His voice while you're still. You see His scheme come to pass. You are filled with His power. A soul that is at ease in God is impervious to the adversary. Imagine Moses staying still at the Red Sea as the enemies drew closer. He remained calm. He had faith, and the seas were separated by God. That's where you are. Even if the enemy's assaults may seem like an army behind you, your best defense is to remain still. Remain steadfast. Have faith in God's timetable. Given the opportunity to fight. Your inaction is an indication that the threats from the adversary have no effect on you. They are unable to take it or break its power. Let's discuss your religious beliefs. The adversary seeks to undermine it in order to get you to question God's promises. Where's your God now? They will murmur, pointing to every storm and setback, but your faith is a rock, unwavering, and based on the reality of who He is. It's not a naive faith. It's a decision to believe what you know rather than what you see. You are slamming the door on the falsehoods of the adversary each time you choose faith. Your faith is like a fire that becomes brighter every time it is attacked. Imagine Abednego, Meshach, and Shadrach in front of the furnace. Their faith kept them standing when the adversary expected them to submit. Because they had faith in God, they survived the fire. You are the same. Even though the enemy's assaults may seem like fire, you persevere because of your faith. Declare the promises of God. Keep your word. Every act of faith is a triumph, a stride toward the unstoppable destiny. Your faith is your indestructible shield. Let's now discuss your restoration. The adversary wants you to remain damaged and bear the scars from previous conflicts. They want you to believe that you are flawed and undeserving. God, however, is a restorer. He turns the broken into something complete. What goes missing and finds its way back. God has the potential to rebuild you stronger, better, and more radiant after every assault you've encountered. What God is mending in you cannot be stopped by the adversary. Consider Naomi, who lost everything yet was able to find healing because of Ruth's loyalty. The adversary believed she was vanquished, but God had other ideas. You are the same. God transforms the wounds caused by the enemy's assaults into tales of triumph. Allow Him to cure you. Allow Him to put back what has been stolen. The enemy's hold is weakened with each repair phase. They cannot dull the brightness or affect the power of your healing. Let's discuss your audacity. The adversary wants you to be frightened and hesitant to enter the areas where God has called you. God designed you to be courageous and to step where others pause, even though they know that a bold soul transforms everything. You're neither loud or brazen in your aggressiveness. It's stable and based on your confidence in Him. When you take a brave stand, you're taking territory that the adversary believed was theirs. Every audacious action goes against their intentions. Imagine Peter getting out of the boat and going out to sea. His bravery resisted the storm, despite the enemy's wishes for him to remain safe and retreat. You are the same. God asks you to walk on water, even if the enemy's assaults may attempt to keep you in the boat. Go outside. Raise your voice. Be brave. Your audacity pierces the enemy's plans like a fire. They are unable to control or halt this energy. If this message is inspiring you, click like and subscribe to join the thousands of others who have been selected to follow their calling with courage. And leave a comment below with 777 if you're prepared to assert your bravery. Allow your bravery to reverberate in the spiritual world. Let's now discuss your legacy. The adversary wants you to believe that you have a short life and that your influence will fade. They urge you to concentrate on the here and now rather than the future. However, according to God, your life is sowing the seeds for future generations. Every decision you make and every stance you take contributes to the creation of something timeless. Because they are aware that your legacy will outlive their assaults, the opposition detests that. Your life continues to be written as a triumphant tale. Thousands of years later, David's Psalms are still relevant. Because his voice was based on God, the adversary was unable to stifle it. The same type of legacy is being built by you. While the enemy's strikes are fleeting, your influence endures forever. Every time you make a decision based on faith, love, or bravery, you leave a mark that cannot be removed by evil. Continue to construct. Continue to have faith. The light you leave behind will continue to shine long after the enemy's plans have dimmed. Let's discuss your peace. To keep you in disarray, the adversary wants to interfere. They are aware that a calm heart is a strong heart that is unaffected by turmoil. However, you inherit God's peace, a serenity that endures through any storm. It's more than simply an emotion. It's a stronghold, a position where you remain unfazed. You're telling the adversary that you are powerless when you walk in peace. Your power is that unreachable peace. Imagine Jesus dozing off during the storm while the disciples were in a panic. He knew who was in charge. Therefore, his tranquility remained unaffected. That same tranquility is yours. Despite the fury of the enemy's assaults, you may find peace in God's presence. Let you be anchored by his tranquility. Say a prayer for it. Look for it. Allow it to fill you. Every instance of calm is a win, a proclamation that you are immune to the turmoil of the opponent. You have the ability to drive the darkness away with your tranquility. Let's now discuss your purpose. The adversary wants you to question everything and believe that your life is aimless. They will use discouragement and diversions to get you to wonder why you are here. But God has given you a purpose. Your soul is engraved with a calling. It is not something that can be found. It is a part of your life. Every assault is an indication that the opposition understands and is afraid of your goal. They are aware of your potential and will stop at nothing. However, you are too selected to be stopped. Consider how God's hand brought Jonah back after he fled from his mission. God had a better plan than the adversary, who wanted him to go off course. You are the same. Attacks from the opponent may attempt to divert you, but your goal is greater. Embrace it. Seek God to guide you to the next action. Live it with courage. The opposition loses ground every time you move in accordance with your goal. Their ideas are being burned by your goal, which is like a fire. Let's discuss your trust. The adversary seeks to break it in order to cause you to doubt God's trustworthiness. They will say that God has forgotten you and cite every delay and unfulfilled plea. However, your faith is a pillar, a rock that remains solid even when all else falters. It goes beyond just having faith that God will provide. Even when you can't see it, it's knowing that He has already done so. Your faith is a weapon, a silent power that resists the falsehoods of the adversary. By expressing trust, you're letting them know that their plots cannot undermine your beliefs. Consider Abraham, who waited for a promise for decades. The adversary urged him to disbelieve God's message and give up. But as each year went by, his faith became greater and a country was born. You are the same. Even though the adversary may attempt to undermine your faith in God remains unwavering. Embrace it. Keep your word. You are stronger than the darkness every time you put your confidence in others. Your trust shines through their dishonesty like a beacon. Let's now discuss your patience. The opponent wants you to be hurried, nervous, and searching for short-term solutions that won't work. They are aware that they may undermine your goals if they can make you respond fearfully. However, you have a gift of patience, a steady beat that helps you stay in sync with God's timetable. Being patient does not mean idly waiting. It's actively trusting, understanding that each delay is a prelude to something bigger. Your patience outlasts the enemy's schemes, therefore they can't tolerate it. Consider Simeon, who waited for the Messiah for years. The opponent wanted him to lose hope and become resentful. His strength, however, was his patience, which brought him to Jesus. You're on the same route. Your patience is a barrier against the enemy's attempts to hurry you and make you question the wait. Remain calm. Have faith in God's timetable. The adversary is losing ground every time you wait with faith. Your patience is a powerful force that outweighs their mayhem. Let us discuss your knowledge. The adversary wants you to make stupid decisions that will lead you into their web. They will entice you with shortcuts and dangle diversions in the hopes that you would trip. However, God granted you insight and a heightened intellect via His truth. You can understand the truth behind every falsehood and the cost of every decision thanks to your knowledge. It's more than simply information. It's discernment, the power and clarity to maneuver through the enemy's plans. You are impervious when you walk in knowledge. Consider Solomon, a monarch no adversary could outsmart due to his intelligence. God's knowledge made him invincible, despite the enemy's desire to confound him. You are the same. Attacks from the opponent may attempt to impair your judgment, but your knowledge overcomes them. Say a prayer for it. Look for it in the Bible. Allow it to direct your actions. Every intelligent decision you make strikes the enemy's schemes in the face. Your knowledge is a light that reveals everything they do. If this message is inspiring you, click like and subscribe to join the thousands of others who are living in divine knowledge. And leave a comment below with 777 if you're prepared to assert your strength. Let the sky tremble with your statement. Let's now discuss your compassion. The opposition wants you to seem uncaring, aloof, and excessively defensive. They are aware that a caring heart may mend what it breaks, making it a hazardous heart. But God has given you compassion, a love that transcends oneself. It's not a sign of weakness. It's strength, the sort that destroys the enemy's grasp, changes atmospheres, and softens hearts. Being compassionate means that you're